There is more love. Somewhere 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 more love, somewhere there is 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 more love, somewhere. More love somewhere, more love somewhere, more love somewhere. Somebody join me. More love somewhere, more love somewhere, more love somewhere, more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Somebody keep that one. Who's got it? There is more love somewhere. There is more love. How come me and 4 people are the only ones moving? Somewhere I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Keep going, keep going. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. We rise and go. Somewhere, more love, somewhere. Let's get a refresh, huh? Let's get a refresh, let's get a refresh. Let's all start on the bass line. Here we go, real strong. More love somewhere. Who's got that one? More love somewhere. Good morning and welcome to church. It's good to see you, and it's good to see you again. Love and liberation have a chance every time we decide to be together and then actually accomplish that. And each time we are together, we get a new opportunity to be just who we are, just a little better. We warm up our voices because the next word that we say together can change everything if we do it just right, if it motivates our hearts and our feet. The word is love. Will you say it with me? Love. Is the spirit of the church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We're so glad you came today to Universalist Church of Minneapolis. For our part, in this corner of the world, there will be songs of justice happening. In this corner of the world, there will be silence kept for the truth. In this place, there will be togetherness. We will make it so, and you're very welcome to the journey. I invite you to greet someone you haven't greeted yet, just once. Tell them your name. Tell them you're glad to see them.
Good morning. I'm Allison Conley-Vetter. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm the director for Children, Youth, and Family Ministries here at First Universalist Church. When I'm not here, and sometimes when I am here, I enjoy writing songs. And I'm going to share one of them with you today that is also all about love. You might be catching a theme. Love, love, love. There are 3 verses to this song, and they all have the same tune. And they are about different aspects of love that you might be feeling, or maybe you're not quite feeling and need to be talked into a little bit. The first verse is about being beloved. I am beloved. Love requires nothing of me. But sometimes love does require something of us. So we've got a second verse that says, I am a lover, and love requires loving of me. Maybe that's what resonates. And sometimes we are love itself. I am love. And love is how we're going to get free. We really believe that here at First Universalist. So we'll sing each of those verses individually, and then we'll sing it through a couple times and invite you to sing the words that you most need to say, that you most need to hear, that are resonating the most. Let's sing about love. It goes like this. I am beloved, and love requires nothing of me. I am beloved, and love requires nothing of me. I am beloved, and love requires nothing of me. Let us live in love. And now we're the lovers. I am a lover, and love requires loving you beloved? Love requires nothing of you. Are you a lover? Love requires loving of you. Are you love? And love is how we're going to get free. I invite you to think to yourself, presence what you hear. What's with the exams? And I'm really feeling a need to remember that I'm a lover. So that's the verse that I'm going to sing. I invite you to sing the words that are true for you. I am a lover, love requires loving of me. I am a lover, love requires loving of me. I am a lover, and love requires loving of me. Let us live in love again. I am a lover, and love requires loving of me. I am a lover, and love requires loving of me. I am a lover, and love requires loving of me. Let us live in love. Let us live in So, my dear ones, with the dawning of this day comes the widening of our circle, the opening of our arms to new life. In the rhythm of the seasons and the turning of the years, we pause to mark this sacred moment, a time to bless, a time to promise, and a time to welcome. Today, beloveds gather here and here, carrying the fullness of love and hope we hold for the children we cherish and they hold for the children in their families. We, as a community of faith, all of us, open our hearts in return. We're ready to be beside these families, ready to weave our lives with theirs into the fabric of shared belonging. So families who are dedicating children, I invite you to come on up, whichever route you'd like to take. You can stand right over here. And all other kids and youth, I invite you up too to sit right here. You have a special role. It is a low stakes role. I invite you to come up and sit right up here at the front if you'd like to help us with part of this ritual. Right up here, Ari. Ari, right there. So in this ritual of child dedication, we recognize how deeply we need one another. We reject the idea that each family is or should be a self-contained unit. We acknowledge that families transcend the limits of blood and law. We recognize your family, your families, as you have gathered and created it, and we honor the commitments and love that define it. It's a gift to share in this abundance of joy. We recognize your need for vibrant communities to witness and enfold you, and we promise to be one of those communities as your spiritual home. In our ritual of child dedication, all of us, as the congregation, pledge to support you on the journey of your children's growth. We dedicate ourselves to you honestly. We are telling the truth. We will help in your times of need. We will serve as volunteers and guides and mentors throughout your time in our children, youth, and family ministries. We will be in parent gatherings together. We will celebrate this and many more milestones throughout the years ahead.
Every child is a miracle, filled with the power of love, reminding us that each person born can save the world. We give thanks for everyone who is gathered here and now, and for those who are away in distance and time. We honor our ancestors and we welcome them here into this time with us, as we make sacred promises and bless one another.
First, you kids, we have a special job for you kids and youth, so I need your help now. I have 3 questions. And after each question, please say loudly, "We will." No matter where you're sitting, kids, this is your role. Yeah, you got it. Will you show these friends old and new how we treat each other with love and respect at church? Yes. Will you welcome and accept them just as they are? Will you play with them and be good friends to them? Thank you.
And now, adults, it is your turn, all of you. When you dedicate yourselves to these children and families, you're acknowledging your role as their supporters, as their cheerleaders, as their friends, their advisors, their spiritual home, and companions on the journey for all that life brings. I'm going to ask you 5 or maybe 6 questions. I didn't count again. And after each question, you're going to respond with energy, with life, here or in the chat online. We will. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, my friends, will you pledge yourself to the well-being of these children and families? We will. You sure will. Will you promise to care for them as they learn and grow? We will. Will you help these families raise their children to love justice and live with compassion? We will. Will you work for a peaceful, just, safe, and sustainable world so that these children might grow to the fullness of their potential? We will. Will you commit to being a curious, secure, respectful, and boundaried human being in intergenerational relationships? We will. And will you enthusiastically welcome all of these kids and youth and their family members as unique, precious individuals so that they can experience this place, this congregation, as a place of belonging where they are whole, holy, and worthy, welcome, and wanted exactly as they are? We will. So now it's the time to bless. It's the time to bless each of these folks. And we'll do this with water, with a rose, with some words of welcome, and at the end, some bubbles. So if you have not already been enticed as a child and youth to come forward but would like to have a bubble blowing opportunity, this is your time. So I'll need your help with the welcome, all of you, because at some point in this ritual, for each of the children being dedicated, Ashley will say, "We welcome you," and you will say, "We welcome you exactly as you are." So let's practice that. We welcome you. We welcome you exactly as you are. You absolutely do. All right, we're ready.
All right, in just a moment, we will ask you, parents and caregivers, one by one, what you name your child. Then we will touch each of you, children and youth, with water on your brow, on your lips, and on your hands to dedicate your thoughts, your words, and your deeds to the service of a love that knows no bounds. We will do this with prayer and with water, drawn from the earth, but well cleaned. Thank you, Glenn Thomas. We will remind you of the deep roots that nourish your spirit and sustain the flow of life that connects us all.
We will also give each of you a rose, a sign of your unfolding beauty, like a flower which blooms by the sun and the rain alike. This rose, which we will give you today as younger children and youth, is without thorns, representing our promise to do our best to protect you from the harshness of the world. Later on, when you are an older youth in this church and you participate in coming of age program, we will give you a rose with its thorns on. Then the rose represents our promise to support you in enduring what is hard together. May we grow with strength and grace, reaching ever towards the sky.
All right, it's ritual time. We're gonna get that over. Who's gonna go first? Okay. What do you name this child?
Adrian Justin Salonik.
We welcome you, Adrian Justin.
We welcome you exactly as you are.
And what do you name this child?
Autumn Jennifer Bernadette Salonik Harris.
We welcome you, Autumn.
We welcome you exactly as you are.
And what do you name this child?
Elijah Michael Wayne Salonik Harris.
We welcome you, Elijah. And what do you name this child?
Julia Celeste
Rosak.
We welcome you, Julia. And we have a little bubble blessing, too.
Do you remember the story of Higgins? Do you remember how the flowers wound up growing? It was a dry land, and no wind, no sun. And Higgins, the raindrop, decided that Higgins was going to do something about that. And so he jumped into the bucket. And with enough friends, and the sun, the light, and the air, the bucket tipped over, and all of the beauty grew. May we be the nutrients through which our children and young ones grow, always. Anybody want to help me out with these bubbles? We could use two things. We could use people actually to blow the bubbles. Come on up. And we could use the sound of wind. Sound effects. Yes, it's a multimedia blessing. Anybody? Yeah, okay. Come on, help me out. Who's first? So we're going to do, oh. Yeah, so that's kind of the point, okay? Somebody try it? Come on. You got it. Yes, 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 yes. Come. That's one. Yes, keep going, keep going. I'm just going to keep dunking these. You try. Okay, yes, way to go. Okay, quickly now. Yes, yes, and then. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Yes, one more. Wait, oh, one more. Yes! Yes, way to go. Way to go. Here we go. Okay, three more. Oh, that wind is dying down. Did you hear that? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, you want one? Let's. Oh, yep, and this way, one good one. Yeah, one more good one. You want to try? Yes, come on up. Oh, one more time. Let's. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I was never any good at. But practice makes better, right? You taught me a whole lot. Friends, by the air and by our words of welcome, by these elements, may the earth bless you as you come to be a blessing in the world with your whole lives, exactly as you are. So may it be.
Let us give a warm welcome to these families. You are welcome to return to your seats now, and flag bearers, banner wavers, lantern bearers, come forward, and we will bless you as we transition out into our different spaces for continued learning and growth.
This is a pretty incredible juggling act. I still get the pour wrong. I know, the beverages are key though. It's very good.
Everybody knows it. Here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh,
Good morning, beloveds. My name is Ashley. I'm one of the ministers among you, and I use she, her pronouns. Now is the time when we drop in a little bit deeper. Try and let the rest of ourselves catch up with our bodies in this space to fully arrive. Let's do that now with 3 meaningful breaths. We remember now that welcoming exactly as we are is not a one-time event. It is a way of being and practice with each other. And it begins with knowing how we are showing up in each moment, what it is that we are exactly in each moment. Let us take this time now of prayer, of being present to what is in ourselves. To notice all that would be a bit lighter if we held it together, and all that would be a bit more joyful if we shared it. In response to each prayer, we will say together, "You are not alone. We are holding it together." You may speak aloud into this space. You may write a prayer into the chat. The circle is open now. For all of our federal employees at risk and those who stay, you are not alone. We are holding it together. For your father-in-law who passed yesterday, you are not alone. We are holding it together. For Zelensky and the Ukrainians, you are not alone. We are holding it together. Oh, for an 8-year-old in the hospital with COVID and pneumonia, you are not alone. We are holding it together. For Lowell at the grocery store, whose wife died after being together for 50 years. You are not alone. We are holding it together. For your friend who has kidney failure, you are not alone. We are holding it together. For your sister whose husband died after 31 years together, you are not alone. We are holding it together.
Let us all remember that we are similar in our differences and different in our similarities.
For the complexity of overlapping similarity and difference, you are not alone. We are holding it together. Julian, who came home from Children's Hospital, we celebrate and remember you are not alone. We are holding it together. For a friend of yours whose son found the woman of his dreams, you are not alone. We are holding it together. Eric and Sarah are delighted to share that Kaya was born on February 12th, and everyone is healthy, overjoyed, exhausted, and in love. And Luella loves being a big sister. They are appreciative of the outpouring of love and support from family and friends. You are not alone. We are holding it together. We are sending our love and care to Ira Cords and his family, Jeff, Amy, and Anna, as Ira recovers from successful surgery to his lung at Children's Hospital. You are not alone. We are holding it together. For all those who are suffering in Palestine, you are not alone. We are holding it together. For all the prayers that rest silently on our hearts, for all of those that do not yet have words, let us remember that you are not alone. We are holding it together as we sing our prayers now.
We enter now into a moment of generosity, a moment shaped by trust and love. Giving is not just about what we offer, it is about what we build together. In a moment, the ushers will come forward to receive today's offering. Giving and receiving are sacred acts. Each gift is an offering of love, an investment in this community, a seed planted for the future. Avi and I have lived in our house for 17 years. We bought it when we were young with the financial support from Avi's parents, something we could not have done at the time and likely not for many years after that. When I walk into the house, I often think of the very, very cold day we moved into it in January. With help from friends, not even really our friends, it was my parents' friends mostly, because we had just moved back from college and had not yet developed a strong community here. And I love sitting on the front porch, waiting for the kids off the bus or enjoying my morning cup of coffee. It had been closed for years, blocking the view of the Mississippi, and my father helped, mostly did it himself, led the process of taking off the windows and discovering it needed a new foundation. The roof was being held up by the stucco. But together we rebuilt the foundation so that the roof could stand and we could sit on it for many years to come. When my grandfather died, my mother gave us a cash gift from the inheritance, and we used it to buy new appliances. A beautiful stove that has been used many times for family meals and holidays, cooking together in the kitchen. And when we grill on the patio, I am reminded about my dad having helped, mostly, again, doing it by himself, laying the bricks that had been salvaged from a job site from a friend and relaid at our house, making sure all of the words went the same way. Every year in spring, I think of a friend who designed our garden and helped us with ours. I remember how small the plants were when we picked them out at the Isles of Girtons. We went with a slightly smaller bush because it was cheaper, and now it's 10 times the size. Over the years, many people have contributed to making our house a home. We did not have the skill set to most of the things done to this house when we moved in, but our community did, which is exactly what Habitat for Humanity does, our offering recipient today. They provide things for people who need community, financial support to buy their first home, and the skills to build one. Many people like us do not have everything we need when we start out in life, and not everyone is as lucky as I have been in the support from our parents, our friends, and our church community. I encourage us to remember that it's also our pledge season. If anyone has also forgotten, like ourselves, to tell the church what we will be donating this year, today's the day. But we can all be about building this community for others. Please give as you are able in the ways that feel right to you. If this is a season of receiving, this community is also here for you. If you are in need, we invite you to reach out to the minister for conversation and care. Through giving, we shape the world we long for. Through receiving, we remember we do not walk alone. Giving, receiving, and growing together in love. The ushers will now come forward to receive today's offering. With gratitude, we give. With love, we receive. Thank you for your generosity.
Our message this morning comes in a few different parts. It comes first from our senior minister, who, as you may have noticed, is not in the building, does not stop her from having a word to share. We will hear from her remotely. Then we will have a little bit of quiet reflection time, followed by some words from the one and only Martha Moriarty. And then a little more time to connect with each other, and then I will wrap us up with yet more words, but not too many, I promise. Let us listen to a word from Reverend Jen Crow.
My name is Jen Crow. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the senior minister here at First Universalist Church. And I'll tell you, I am so sorry not to be there with you in person this morning. Child dedications is one of my favorite days of the year. I love getting to see your faces and to be there with you. And I would be there with you, except I have to be here. And I'm guessing that some of you have already figured out where I am because of some of the context clues around me. And it's true, I'm in Bemidji, Minnesota. And I'm here because my daughter is part of the regional ice hockey tournament for 15 and under girls teams in the state. And I'm super glad to be here too, even though I'm missing you. Now, I wanted to tell you a few things though. When I was becoming a parent, I was feeling pretty nervous about it, I think as most people do. And I turned to my spiritual mentor and I asked for some direct advice. And he said to me, well, here's the thing. Your job as a parent can be hard, but it's actually very simple. Your job as a parent is to get to know the particular kid that you get to be the parent of, to get to know exactly who they are and to love them for exactly who they are. And to do that as they change and grow over time. And God knows they will change a lot from infant to adolescence, and we all change a whole lot in our adulthood too. So he said, your job is to get to know them and to love exactly who they are, even as they change and grow, and especially as they change and grow. Well, I said, that sounds pretty good. That's in line with our Unitarian Universalist values, right? Where we base our faith on unconditional love, and by saying that each and every one of us is whole and holy and worthy exactly as we are, welcome and wanted, even as we have room to grow. This is the kind of love we build our communities on, and we know that this kind of love is transformative for individuals and also for our society. We know that here we kind of base ourselves in on the bell hooks definition of love, which says love is the willingness to extend ourselves for our own or each other's spiritual growth. So I thought, oh, that fits pretty well. But I discovered something along the way that I bet you have too, which is when you love someone like that, and you get to know who they are and who they are changes and grows, sometimes that love has you following them into places you never thought you'd go. So for me, one example of that is when my daughter at age 6 decided that ice hockey was her thing. Now, I'm not from here. I'm from Maryland, where I was taught growing up that you should avoid ice and frozen ponds and lakes at all costs because they are dangerous. And so as my daughter got into hockey, I had to learn a whole new world here and a whole new culture. And I would say that my initial years of this ranged anywhere from mildly dangerous to just kind of awkward. So for example, mildly dangerous, I'll say, when she was first starting out, I had no idea how to tie her skates and how tight you had to do that. I had no idea how to correctly put on all of her gear, which would keep her safe. I had an experience where I took my son to learn to skate, and I gave him these thin cotton gloves and sent him out on the ice, and he fell down like you do when you're learning to skate, and those cotton gloves, when he fell, well, they froze directly to the ice, and he was stuck there right in the middle of things. Mildly dangerous. Then I'd say awkward. Some of you who've ever had kids in hockey might know about this, but it was the first game for my daughter. I was super excited, and the group chat started going with the parents and said, all right, safety meeting at this location. Thought, oh, good, they're finally going to teach me something about how to do this thing called hockey and how to do it safely. But I showed up, and it turns out that safety meeting is a euphemism for let's get together and have a couple drinks before the game. So, I learned my way around with this. And here's the thing, right? As we change and grow, what we love and what we want to do changes and grow, and who we are changes too. So last year when my daughter said to me, I think this might be my last year of hockey, I gotta say, I got a little sad about that. I'm finally comfortable in this culture, in this way of doing things, and I got a little sad about it. And then she said, well, I think I'm gonna pour all my energy and effort into track. And I was like, track? I have no idea how to do that. But here we go. And I'll do that too, just like we do, right? When the people that we love change and grow, we change and grow too. And we get to know them for exactly who they are in this moment and love them for that. So today, what I want to invite you to consider is that we do this really well with our kids, I think, most of us, and with the kids in our community. How can we do that with ourselves and with each other as adults, as part of this community? How can we put that same energy and effort and bring that same sense of curiosity into knowing ourselves, into knowing each other, and loving one another for exactly who we are? And that love means that we extend ourselves to help further our own and each other's spiritual growth. To do that, we have to know each other deeply. We have to be willing to take that risk. And I'll tell you that that is the foundation. That kind of love is absolutely the foundation of the kind of beloved community we are building here at First Universalist. And it is that kind of love where each of us knows ourselves and each other as whole and holy and worthy exactly as we are, welcome and wanted, always with room to grow. That is the kind of love that will transform us as individuals and as a larger community. I'm so glad to be in this with you.
So take a moment now. Think about a time when you felt fully seen, not because you fit in, but because someone made space for exactly who you were. What did that feel like? What made it possible? Just sit with that. And hold on to that. We're going to give you a little intellectual scaffold right now because we're UUs and that's how we do. And we'll come back to what you just reflected on after that. Martha.
Good morning. My name is Martha Moriarty. I'm a member of this community, and I use she, her pronouns. You've heard that culture is like water to fish. You don't realize it, that you're in it, until someone pulls you out. It's often referred to as the way we do things around here. This discovery for me has been a long journey of self-reflection with help from the Intercultural Development Inventory, or the IDI. My cultural upbringing has stayed with me and has been hard to disentangle from who I am as a person. I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, on Minnesota's Iron Range. And actually, Jen's story is close to my heart. I grew up in Eveleth, the home of the United States Hockey Hall of Fame, so I know all about hockey. It's a weird little area of the state with some clear cultural norms that you don't find everywhere. Folks up there hold tight to their heritage, and I certainly experienced this. We celebrated our Finnish name days, which is like a birthday party for your name. We also made homemade pulla bread, we ate pasties and patitsa. Does anyone eat patitsa? A few. But more than these experiences, how we as a family communicated was deeply ingrained in my being. If you've ever watched The Crown, you might have some idea of my British grandmother, emotionally restrained as the Queen herself. Hugs were not given freely. And then there's my Finnish side. We breathed sisu, which doesn't really have a direct translation, but means something along the lines of grim or stoic determination. What you might expect me to say next is I face struggles and obstacles with this kind of combination, stoically, emotionally restrained. And sure, I have struggled with friendships and relationships. Not being comfortable sharing emotions can really hinder closeness, but it's also been a winning combination. I fit right here into dominant culture in Minnesota. My ability to act professionally at all times, behave accordingly in all settings, restrain my emotions and feelings, avoid conflict, has helped me in this world. Looking closer at these characteristics, I can also see that I was taught about what was the right way of doing things, both in and outside of the home. And still to this day, my parents and siblings and I have difficulty sharing hard news, having arguments, or anything that makes us feel vulnerable. Reflecting and understanding this culture that I've been part of has been my work for the past several years. It wasn't until I understood these things about me that I was ready to see the differences and similarities among others in my life. Without understanding my own culture better, I could never have been able to see the deep levels of cultural differences that all of us have when we walk through this world. When I began excavating what I learned implicitly and explicitly about my own cultural patterns, such as conflict styles or decision-making or who has power, I understood how other cultures came to develop their own patterns around these concepts too. Culture isn't just about what you see when you meet someone, like their race, what they wear, or their features. Culture connects us to the people that we feel like we belong to. It's how we think about others, such as our family roles and our children and our elders. It's how we communicate and understand one another, what words we use, the tone of our voice, the way we speak, the way we make eye contact. It's the nature of our friendships and our relationships. Who holds power? What roles people take in a group? It's the acceptable way of being in a group. People usually see differences among others before recognizing commonalities, and then begin appreciating both. The intercultural development continuum, which there's a visual for here, is developmental, meaning that you can grow and understand culture over time. Before traveling out of the country in middle school, and maybe even after, I would have easily fit into the denial orientation along this continuum. I didn't recognize differences in perceptions or behaviors as cultural. I knew that I saw other cultures through broad stereotypes and my own lens through the world. I wasn't aware of the wide variety of differences among groups, even in my small town, and I only knew how to act through what my family taught me. But leaving northern Minnesota for college, my world expanded considerably. Thinking back, I was startled at the emotional display of my freshman college roommate. She told me everything about her life through laughter and tears, her feelings, her thoughts, more than I ever thought anyone should share. And new to this, I was judgmental about her oversharing behavior. It was unfamiliar to me. And this was a normal developmental stage in my intercultural journey. Polarization is when one judges differences, and either one's own differences or another culture's differences. New to seeing these, as humans, our first reaction is to judge things that are not like what others are doing. Dr. Milton Bennett, a sociologist and researcher of culture, talks about one's own culture is central to one's own reality. And it was my reality. All the people around me acted pretty much the same, but this roommate did not, and that perplexed me. As my network of friends and acquaintances expanded, my career advanced, I had a family, I've had the opportunity to work with diverse groups of people from all over. And focusing on what we have in common in the workplace or with friends has always felt really safe. Conversations are easy, conflict is usually avoided, I try not to carry stereotypes, and I'm open to learning about differences. But looking back now, I wasn't really aware of my own culture and the deeper differences among groups. And easily this behavior fits into minimization in the continuum, as someone in dominant culture especially. And looking back, many of my colleagues or friends may not have been their true selves in that environment, and this safety now seems stifling to me. I also realized they may have been navigating the dominant culture I was part of and downplaying their differences to get along and get through whatever situation we were in, and probably trying to avoid conflict or standing out differently. More recently, I've had the opportunity to lead a team that includes a wide variety of diversity, racial, identity, gender, age, and creating a trusting and brave space for each of us to bring our full selves in an honest, open, working relationship toward a shared goal really has not been easy. And at times, I'm not sure what to do, how to do it, how to manage conflicts with the team, and this speaks to acceptance on the continuum. It takes time to build an inclusive culture, and every time one person leaves or a new person comes in, culture shifts. Finding shared meaning is very hard, and each one of us has our own perspective or lens in which we see the world through. Each and every day, I check myself. Am I creating space for everyone to be included? Is everyone able to show up living out their true identity? What more can I do to be welcoming? It takes time and practice to recognize these deep levels of differences and approach the situation with care. knowing each one authentically, having trust in each other to ask questions, and being vulnerable, and discovering shared meaning together is hard work. Adaptation is about seeing complexity through culture and being able to bridge differences. I have made a lot of errors along the way, and I continue to practice this every day. Here at First Universalist, we have chosen to practice beloved community. I wonder, how can we be a beloved community without understanding our own culture here? Right now, more than a year or two after we've approved our visionary goals, practicing beloved community seems more important than ever. Seeing and deeply knowing each other, forming relationships, these will be vital to our community members who are struggling with the current politics at play and whose identities are under attack. Understanding how our intent isn't always the same as our impact in what we say or do will help to create an environment where real inclusion exists, where everyone can show up authentically. Our mindful presence and care for one another is our work going forward. Thank you.
All right. We're going to spend just a few minutes with a practice here of sharing with somebody nearby you what emerged when you thought earlier about a time when you felt fully seen for exactly who you are. Think about being a little bit brave here as you turn to the person next to you. Can you figure out what made it safe for you to be exactly who you were? And if you're going for extra credit, you can try and think culturally what made you feel safe when seen. But really the point is just to begin to understand yourself. Begin to understand what it takes for you to be seen exactly as you are. Just take a few minutes to find somebody near you to connect with. And if that is not where you're at this morning, it's okay. You can put your hand on your chest and we will let you be. All right, beloveds. This is the perfect conversation to continue in the social hall after worship this morning. That was just the tip of the iceberg, I know. Wow, this is going well. I have so much moral authority. What did you learn about yourself and your culture? The way you have been taught to do things. We all exist inside cultures, which means every conversation we have is a cross-cultural conversation, a chance to know ourselves and each other more deeply. I've had the honor of working with Martha for a little over a year now on our IDI work at First U, and every time we talk about this work, I learn something. Can we just pause and honor the vulnerable bravery of what she shared today? Yes. And how she's putting her values into practice by offering us hours and hours and hours of pro bono coaching and advising to this congregation to learn how to love each other better with cultural competency. She's going to lead a debrief in the library at 1 o'clock to share our congregational profile with all of you who would like to join us. If you have taken the assessment, the IDI assessment, we need you to come to either this session or the one at community dinner to learn more about what we are doing together before we can give you your individual results. So please join us as you can. And if you haven't taken it and you want to, I promise we'll make that happen. This is the work of the IDI. It's the work of love, or the work of justice in public, or love in public. Thank you, Dr. Cornell West. Those of us who grew up inside the norms of Christianity, or all of us who grew up inside of Christian hegemony as it shows up in our schools, known as the Golden Rule, love one another as you would want to be loved. The problem with this kind of love is that it's simplified. It depends on us to imagine who our neighbors are, not to figure out who they actually are. Does that make sense? Love one another as you would want to be loved is an oversimplified kind of love. It depends on us to imagine what our neighbors might want instead of actually asking them what they might want. Let me give you an example. There was a question I dreaded as a child in the 1980s growing up in a lesbian family. What does your dad do? Well-meaning adults ask me this all the time. I don't know why. It's a question drenched in capitalism. It had nothing to do with me or my personhood, but it also assumed I had a dad. And I learned very young to read the room, to read the person, to read the cues of culture in the surrounding I was in, and decide if it was worth the risk to answer the question with my full truth, or to say I had two moms instead. One thing I learned early when my parents took me to church at a number of places was that the word welcome, as in all are welcome, was a red flag. Unless there was also a rainbow flag. All are welcome did not usually mean me at the churches that we went to in the 1980s. Sure, you can be here, but only if you hide who you are and who your family is. I can still feel the panic rising in me as I would sit in Sunday school class trying to read the cultural cues fast enough to know if it was okay to be honest about my family by the time the introductory question got to me in the circle. They weren't going to kick us out or be cruel. My parents had made sure of that before I got in the room. But when minimization is the rule, sameness is presumed. And the burden of discomfort is on anyone who doesn't fit into that sameness, no matter the intention of the people surrounding them. We can feel really good about ourselves in this moment, that that's not something our kids worry about. But I want us to be sure we're not letting ourselves off the hook also. 40 years from now, what are we going to look back on and think, oh my God, I can't believe we asked that question? Really? we are all doing things that, God willing, 40 years from now, we will say, oh, how did we do that? Historically grounded good biblical scholarship and the IDI land us in a very similar reframe of the golden rule that many now call the platinum rule. Love your neighbor as your neighbor needs to be loved. This expands the golden rule into something active and listening-centered and, as the IDI would call it, adaptive. It presumes that the need will be different depending on who we are. It's the reason that our kids in RE never get that question, what does your dad do? We talk about our kids' grown-ups as caregivers and refuse the assumptions of family configuration norms of our culture as a very simple act of resistance and platinum-style love. It's so simple, but it's not easy. To flip the dominant culture script of minimization to offer actual welcome takes practice, spiritual practice. It requires listening so you don't reshape someone to fit your comfort. It requires assuming the truth of everyone is bigger than what you can imagine. It requires holy curiosity. I have a dear friend from seminary who has taken to asking me this question regularly these days. How can I love you well right now? How can I love you well right now? It is a brave and holy question that I dare each of us to ask each other around here. I often don't know the answer when she asks me, but I'm so glad she asked, and we can figure it out together. In these times, what does it mean to love those babies we dedicated and those kids we've dedicated well? What does it mean to love our elders well right now? What does it mean to love those of us who have a uterus well right now? What does it mean to love those of us who are trans and non-binary right now? What does it mean to love those of us well whose immigration status gets questioned because we don't look quite white enough right now? You get the idea, right? How can I love you well today, beloved? How can this community love you well? If I can ask, and if I can listen and learn, more love is possible, not just somewhere, but right here. More justice is possible. More belonging becomes real. Beloved community is not a platitude, but actually begins to unfold as our shared reality here. May it be so. May we make it so now, not just in a distant forever. Amen.
More love somewhere, more love somewhere, more love somewhere, more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere, somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more somewhere, somewhere. There is more somewhere.
Go forth to ask holy, curious questions of each other. Go forth to ask, how can I love you well right now? And come back home here next week so somebody else can ask you the same thing. May it be so. Amen.
We are gold.